Oh, that's uneven. Oh, that looks kind of ugly. Okay, one of my lights is out, and I apologize for that. Hi guys, what's up? Yeah, I'm a little further away now. This is a little strange. This is my new little background wall. This video is gonna hurt your brain. I'm just gonna tell you right now. It is gonna be rather intense. It's a lot of symbolism. Today we're gonna be talking about Michael's Leave Me Alone video. Someone actually mentioned this last year and I never got around to it because it was towards the end of the month, but we're gonna do it this year. Someone commented on one of my conspiracy theory videos last year and said, you should do one about Leave Me Alone. You should evaluate the video and try to figure out what's going on at some parts. I feel like there's more to the video than just I hate the media. This video is so intense that I took notes. Wow. 2 pages front and back, so let's just get right into it. So the Leave Me Alone video, it starts off and it looks like, I think it's a tour bus. I thought originally it was in a desert, but then I saw that there's water at the bottom of it, so it's definitely not desert. What I got out of that is that when I think of islands, I think of, first of all, I think of Castaway. Wilson? Second of all, I think of being alone, feeling isolated. Next in the video, you just see a lot of tabloids being thrown out, so just all these crazy stories about Michael that aren't true, thrown out, newspaper. Love living on a highway, happy Halloween. And then the next thing that caught my attention was the goldfish in a bowl. The first thing I thought of was the Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here. I instantly thought of that because of the line, we're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl. Which in the song, it kind of makes me think, you know, everyone around you is living their life. Everyone around you is living their life, having fun, doing things that they want to do, living their best life basically. And then you're trapped in this fishbowl. It seems like you're just wasting your life away by being in the same place. But I was like, that doesn't really make sense. I don't really see how that applies to this video. But then I kept watching and I realized that it could be vice versa. Usually when you see an aquarium or a fish in a bowl, the first thing people do is look at it and look at the fish. When I looked at it in that kind of perspective, I was like, oh snap. Your whole life is being viewed by other people. That was Michael's entire life. This next part is kind of funny just because, like, tea. I don't know. The teapot with the money coming out of it. That made me giggle. I was just like, ooh, tea. So something that caught my eye next to the teapot is the elephant. I don't really know much about like animal symbolism. I've never looked up what an elephant symbolizes or what like a fox would symbolize. But I looked it up and a elephant symbolizes wisdom and power. The power part really stood out to me because the money coming out of the teapot, when I think of power, I think of people with a lot of money. I just think of money, period. If you have money, you have a good bit of power, you know what I mean? Another interesting thing I learned, I don't think this has anything to do with the video, but I just thought it was interesting. So when the elephant's trunk is up, which this elephant suddenly I have a trunk. The elephant in this video, its trunk is up and that symbolizes good luck, and when the trunk is down, it symbolizes fertility. So then there's a peacock that pops up. I don't know what that means, Michael. You're not helping me out with this one. The peacock symbolizes awakening, protection, and watchfulness. Michael constantly had to protect himself. His children especially. He knew how to watch his brand. The next thing I saw was a white rabbit, which first of all, this brought me back to the whole Chris Angel incident and the white rabbit that kept popping up and how there was a white rabbit in the courtroom. I looked up the symbolism for that and it says, I found a quote that said, a white rabbit is a sign that life will be more beautiful from here. I feel like Michael going through this journey in this music video maybe was to eventually find peace and find some kind of victory. If you've seen Leave Me Alone, you realize that in the end he does eventually find that victory and breaks free. So this part is really weird. When he's about to go into this tunnel and when he gets into the tunnel, I sat there and just replayed it over over and over, and some parts I just can't figure it out. There's two pillars, and originally I thought they were clowns, but the more I look at them, I'm like, I don't think that's meant to be a clown. I honestly don't know what it is. But anyways, I couldn't figure that out, but there is what looks to be a lamb head on the entrance of the tunnel, but the lamb symbolizes Christ's suffering and triumphs. And eventually Michael passes through the same tunnel that this lamb head is on. There's also two birds. It looks like birds. They're not real, but they're bobbing up and down. I have no idea what that means. I can't tell what kind of bird it is. So then Michael goes into the tunnel, and then you see iguanas. I've learned so much about animals and symbolism and what they symbolize from this whole experience, let me tell you. Iguanas. Be patient in your situation in life is a quote that I found. Michael would have to be patient to deal with the scrutiny that he was constantly under, and the fact that he was still such a sweet person, even to those who would not always treat him the best. The chomping teeth in the tunnel is another big one that I noticed. To me, this came off as words hurt. What you say about people can really hurt, and you really have to watch the words that you use and what you say to others. Michael, if he keeps going down this route, it's eventually going to essentially eat him. Which I feel like saying negative things and especially untrue things about a person that are so awful can do that exact same thing to you. Obviously not literally, but metaphorically. I think it's funny how in this next part Michael says dogging me around, and there's dogs in suits. One of the dogs in the suit is a yellow lab, and I looked up what the symbolism for a yellow lab is. Trust, loyalty, compassion. And I was like, you know, why is the dog in a suit? You know, like yellow labs, or just labs in general, symbolize loyalty and being compassionate and trust. This is where my mind went. I feel like in the music business there's a lot of shady people. Sometimes it seems like the people you can trust the most, that seem the nicest, that act the nicest, that look the nicest, are actually the nastiest people. And what do people that usually have a lot of power and money dress like? They usually wear suits. They usually look really fancy. So then you put this head of a lab, which is a sweet, kind animal, on the suit, and it kind of makes you rethink how you view people.
The next thing, I couldn't tell what it was for a second, but the more I look at it, it looks like mounted binoculars. Something you would see if you were going sightseeing somewhere.
Allows you to look at something far away and make out details that otherwise would be impossible to see. It goes back to the whole, you know, dog in a suit. You may not notice it at first, it may not be visible, but eventually you're gonna see that shit clearly. Next we have a hand holding up a phone. The whole video is just honestly shade after shade after shade being thrown towards Michael. So I was like, you know, maybe some secret combos. But then I thought deeper. Let's not think about an actual telephone. What about the game Telephone? So if you've never played the game Telephone, basically you typically are in a circle and you have a bunch of people and you choose one person, and they basically have to think of a sentence or a saying or really anything that's relatively short to say to the person next to them. So they lean over, they tell the person, and basically it's a listening game. So sometimes you hear what the person says exactly right. If you tell the next person, they might not hear exactly how you say it because you're supposed to whisper.
The Avengers are on the show tonight.
The diaphragm jelly is in my glove box?
Even though the game is supposed to be fun and funny, it really shows you how information can be completely warped. Next we have cameras flashing. I mean, I feel like this is pretty obvious. Paparazzi press. Michael was always in the limelight and constantly on display. So Michael eventually goes through the chomping teeth, and then you see a chocolate cookie pop up as well as a brain. I feel like out of everything in this video, this took me the longest to figure out something besides that's a brain and that's a chocolate chip cookie floating. I really just had to break this down. So I was like, okay, brain, smart, intelligent. So then I thought, okay, cookie and brain, they're like right next to each other, so I guess they have to connect somehow. I don't know how, but... And then I started thinking, well, how do cookies affect the brain, I guess? Cookies are sugar, so how does sugar affect the brain? And this is what I found about how sugar affects the brain. This is actually insane. Sugar has drug-like effects in the reward center of the brain. And it's crazy because the brain is dependent on sugar as its main fuel. It cannot live without it. And doctors even went on to say that just a little bit of it can become addicting. Essentially, it's like, well, let me just eat some apples and oranges. I don't know if this like is referencing to drugs. Like, I don't know what this is trying to say, but if you guys want to talk about this, because this, I feel like I just went way too deep, but at the same time, I don't know how else to word it. I don't know how else to view it. Y'all let me know what you think about the cookie and the brain situation going on. Next, we have a clown in the upper right corner of the video. Where do clowns usually go? The circus. I mean, I would know. I go there all the time. All I could see for this, seeing references to like clowns and circus related things, was Michael's life literally felt like a circus. It was chaos. Even though sometimes you think of circuses being fun, you think of circuses being, you know, flashy and fun, but at the same time, it's pretty chaotic. If you've ever been to one, it can be a lot to take in. I can't tell if this is a crocodile or alligator. I think I know the difference. I know one has like a thinner nose, and then it's a little longer, and then another's is wider, and I can't remember now, but anyways. The crocodile symbolizes that we cannot always be gentle and calm. Alligator, how precious life is. Crocodile, you can't always be gentle and calm. I feel like it's leaning more towards the crocodile option because Michael probably realized that as people started saying more and more awful things about him. I do feel like over time he realized that that's not okay. His fans are going to stand up for him, and he should stand up for himself as well. I'm seeing more of crocodile symbolism rather than the alligator. Next, we have the nose and the knife or surgical utensil. I can't really tell. I think it's just a knife. I feel like that's just referring to people talking about Michael's nose jobs. I don't really feel like that one's super hard to figure out. And then we have the earth or globe. I would consider it a globe because it looks like a sphere. This one like blew my mind. I was like, what the heck? Because I put it into perspective and it just... All right, here we go. This is a quote that really just made my mind explode. This is talking about globes, and this is why I believe it's a globe rather than just a picture of the flat earth. Unlike maps, they do not distort the surface that they portray except to scale it down. They are true to scale. This whole video is about things getting distorted and turned around. The globe, you're not seeing things in a distorted view. The dogs in the suits have hats on this time, which again just makes me think of power. Like, is this the mafia? There's a thrill sign pointing to the right, and Michael does not end up going that way. And I'm thinking maybe because of the whole going back to the circus thing, there's thrills at the circus. Michael's tired of living his life like it is a circus, so he chooses to go the opposite way. This part is really cool. I mean, I feel like this is very obvious what's going on, but you see a door and it's a heart, and when it opens, the heart breaks in half. Even though it's sad, it was pretty cool. The next thing you notice are pirates and treasure chests and a pirate setting off a cannon. I looked up things about pirates, and I knew nothing about pirates really, except, you know, Johnny Depp looks hot as a pirate. That's all I really know. I found the truth about pirates. So pirates are actually crazy. They would rob and attack any non-Navy ships they came in contact with. Basically, they were greedy. And all I could think of was the tabloids, media, reporters, you know. It seems to me that most of them, if not all, are very greedy and don't really care about others' well-being. They just want what they want, and they want it when they want it. Then you see a lantern around the pirates. And when I think of a lantern, I think of obviously light. Holding it, you know, guiding yourself through the dark. The next thing I noticed were Greek statues. Now, as a fellow Greek, I really hope they're Greek statues because I looked at them for a good 10 minutes. I looked up Greek statues, kind of their history, what they represent, and I found this quote: "Humanity in nearly all its forms was the focus of ancient Greek culture. We can accept each other despite our differences." Pretty deep for a Greek statue, but Greek people were very open about their art and accepting the body for what it was. Michael just wants to be accepted. Next, we have another animal. It just never ends. It's a lemur this time. Anyone remembers a boomafoo? They represent secret knowledge, T, navigator, guidance, and staying on top. And then I found a quote about lemurs that says, "It will show you things that you need to know." Is that symbolism of he's trying to get through this dark place and he needs some help, and the lemur was that help? I'm gonna keep this short and simple. Something falls from the ceiling at this part. I have no idea what it is. I thought it was a fucking sloth. Now I'm just confused. So then we see a dog with a hat once again and a suit wrapping someone's hand and hammering it into the ground. Obviously it is Michael's hands because of the finger tape. Me doesn't have finger tape. Me. Finger tape. You see a triangle. Illuminati. And then you see a polar bear. I found that a polar bear represents purity, determination, and an improvement in circumstances, which would make a lot of sense because as the video progresses, things seem to get not so good, but then the ending happens. So Michael is showing that he's just in all this chaos. He's tied to the ground. I feel like that just 100% represents how he feels when the media treats him the way that they do. His life feels like a circus. He feels out of control. He feels like he's being shot down. And then obviously Michael eventually breaks free and all seems well. He's a huge giant. He's standing above all the chaos and you're like, thank the Lord. But it doesn't end there because there's a llama. Oh, I think actually that was before that. Whoops. Well, anyways, I looked up what a llama meant, and aside from sometimes you can take a llama to the studio, but don't expect Freddie Mercury to stick around when you do that, I found out that a llama represents not backing down, which makes perfect sense because then Michael breaks free and he's a strong man. And it's a beautiful ending. So that was just a lot. But I really wanted to do this video. I feel like it's very interesting and I don't know what other time I would do it besides around Halloween. But yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back with another conspiracy theory video soon and I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me. Bye guys! Wait, you guys want to see me up close since I'm so far away now? Hi! These aren't real, by the way. Always remember, we were once this close.